here with a knife video for you, and today I'm going to talk about what's been in my pocket the most over the last few weeks, maybe months. It's been a little while since I did one of these. Normally I do sort of a most carried video every, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks. It's been more like 6 months since I've done one, so I'm a little behind the times, but you guys tend to enjoy them, and so I every so often I'm like, you know what, I should do a most carried video. And I think things have changed enough that it's worth doing. So let's go ahead and first point out that while my knives switch quite a bit, some things don't switch as often. Okay, so what I've got right here, and what I'd like to hear from you guys down in the comments, if you, one, are you like me? I tend to switch my knife out at least daily, sometimes more than that. Sometimes, you know, at the end of the workday, I'll go home and switch my knife out because I'm doing something different in the evening than I was doing all day and I want a different knife for that, or I just feel like carrying something different. So that's one thing. My knife switches out quite a bit. I'd love to hear how often your knife carry switches or how that all works out for you. But the other thing is these are items that don't switch, right? So we've got keys, pretty obvious. I'm still enjoying the Key Smart. I did a video on this. I'll throw a link in the description to some of this stuff. I think I've got Amazon links for it. If I don't, well, then you won't see them in the description. Wallet, of course. That's just a cheap wallet. There won't be a link for that. But the MicroStream has been really, really good. This is the USB version, so I don't have to do anything with it other than connect it to a micro USB every once in a while. And that's pretty handy. I do like this a lot. Now, I consider this a daytime carry knife. A daytime carry light, meaning that, you know, if I'm going out at nighttime, I'll carry something a little more substantial, something with, you know, 1,000 lumens or so, where this doesn't quite reach that level. Not even close, actually. Leatherman Raptor. Actually, let's talk about this one. Pager. I always have my pager on me. This is just in case the chief watches this video. You'll know. I do have my pager on me all the time. The only time it's ineffective is if you forget to charge the battery, which happens once in a while, but not too often. And then lastly, we've got the Leatherman Raptor. I really, really like the Raptor. I carry this on my EDC bag, which is always within reach of me. And then what I do is if I have a fire call, I grab just the scissors. So it's in a sheath on my bag. The sheath is kind of permanently attached to the bag. So I'll just grab the scissors, drop them in my pocket or clip them to a back pocket and then take off on the call so that I've always got them. Now, I will say this. I like these so much that I will probably ultimately end up buying a second pair, one just to go in my bunker gear and one to have in my EDC bag all the time. So Leatherman Raptor is the last thing that's a pretty much always carry. And I'm sure you guys have some always carry stuff as well that doesn't switch out. And I'd love to have you tell me about that down in the comments below. Now let's go ahead and get into the knives that I want to share with you, beginning with this guy. This is something a little different. We don't talk about, well, at least on my channel, I don't talk about Swiss Army knives very often. But this Forester is really, really handy. And the reason is it's summer. This is the time of year when you do all the kind of stuff with family and kids, and sometimes you go to places like, you know, amusement parks or zoos or whatever, where you're not totally sure how a folding knife is going to be perceived. Well, I carry this in a lot of those cases because it's pretty sheeple friendly. You know, you got a bunch of tools here, so people tend to be not so concerned about that. And I just find it a great little knife for those times where, you know, I'm not so sure how a knife is going to be perceived. I've never had anyone even bat an eye at this knife, and I've pulled it out and used it. I've had to go through security screenings and all kinds of stuff. And if you have this knife, I don't know, maybe you guys have, but I have never had a problem walking into anywhere with my Forester. And it's a pretty big knife, but no one cares because it's just a Swiss Army knife. At least that's sort of the public perception of it. All right, now let's start off with the summertime carry stuff. So I've got a few knives here that I found myself carrying a little more often, largely because they're very lightweight and very easy to throw in your pocket when you're carrying or when you're wearing sort of lightweight shorts. I have a couple of pairs of sort of cargo shorts, and in that case, it doesn't matter. You can carry something a little heavier. But these knives, and I've got one more that I'll bring in after because I think it deserves its own special discussion. But the Para 2, you're all very familiar with. Everyone knows it's a great knife. We all like it. Really, you know, just a lot of ability for a fairly lightweight package. The Tuya Thorax, not so many people are probably familiar with. This is a great knife from Tuya Knives. It doesn't cost a ton, and yet it delivers most of the things we want to see from sort of a high-end titanium frame lock. And not to mention, it's, again, a lot of knife in a very lightweight package. So this is one of those titanium frame locks, along with the Tuya Kingsman, which I don't have here. But both of those I carry because they're just so lightweight and so unobtrusive. And this, I decided to put this one in the video because it does get a little more carry time, especially on days when, you know, if I'm doing some construction type stuff or something like that. I tend to get a lot of confidence out of this knife. I'm not too worried about damaging it or breaking it. It's probably just my perception, but it just seems a little bit tougher than some of the other knives that I have. So last up is the Mordax from Mastrop and Ferrum Forge and Protec. Again, such a great knife, just slim and lightweight, easy to carry. You don't even know you have it with you, and yet when you need it to cut something, you've got a really, really capable tool. And this is a great summer carry knife. So now let's move on to the other sort of main summer carry knife that I wanted to share because it has been in my pocket quite a bit. This is, of course, the Spyderco Amalgam. This is my favorite thing Spyderco has done this year by a pretty large margin. It's just so comfortable in hand. I love the blade grind where it's designed to be a little more heavy duty, a little thicker. Still slices very well, super lightweight, really good action. I mean, I just like everything about this knife. I don't really, what can I say that's bad? Oh, I know. Yeah, the only thing I don't totally love about it is that it's bearings. I kind of wish this was washers just because to me it feels sort of like a heavy duty use knife, and bearings move it a little bit out of that category. Not totally, and I still carry it and use it with confidence. But, you know, bearings do introduce that little bit of extra, you know, a few more moving parts that can cause some challenges there. Now, oh yeah, I've got another knife that fits this role that I should have brought in a second ago. This, of course, is the WE 910 model number 037. It's either, and again, I said this in my first impressions, and I haven't figured it out yet. I'll know, I promise, by the time I do the review. This is either named the 910 and the model number is the 037, or it's named the 037 and the model number is 910. I think it's probably the model number is 910 because we must be at number 9 now for WE knives, right? They started at 6, and then there was the 7 series and the 8 series and the 9 series. I could be completely making all that up. Let me know down in the comments below. But I think, you know, that tends to be the pattern that WE Knives has had going on. So if they're sticking true to their pattern, maybe that's what's going on here. And so this would be the 037. That would be the name, and the model number would be 910. But I'll freely admit that I could have that totally reversed. All right, let's switch out. Oh yeah, let's throw in a transition knife here. So this is the Bestech Ascot. It's got the really cool, if you've seen my first impression videos, you know, or you've probably seen this around somewhere. I love this material with the layered G10 and carbon fiber. Makes for a really fancy looking knife that doesn't have a fancy looking price tag. D2 steel, very, very utility ground blade here. So, and a very traditional looking knife. And this is a bit of a departure for Bestech. They usually have this outlandish stuff, but this is just clean and simple and elegant. And I have to say, I like it a whole lot. And because of that, out of all the Bestechs that were sent to me for review, this one is the one that really stands out to me as a pretty big win. All right, now let's move into some bigger, heavier stuff, because even though it's summer, I can't help myself. I carry this a lot. You know, there are some days from time to time where it's cool enough to wear long pants, or you know, if you're wearing sort of a cargo style short instead of, you know, a thin, you know, Under Armour golf style thing, then it's pretty comfortable. So this guy has been in the pocket a lot. Honestly, since I have this, I have not gone a week ever without at least carrying it one day. It's a huge standout for me for this year. Absolutely a shoe-in for my best knives of 2019. And I think since we're saying that, I'm going to tell you guys about something I'm planning right now. So what I'm going to do at the end of this year is do 2 best of 2019 videos, or maybe one where it's just cut in half. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to do my own picks for the best of 2019, but I'm going to do a separate video where it's all knives that you guys have picked and all that you have suggested. And so there'll be sort of a best of 2019 as chosen by viewers, and then there'll be a best of 2019 as chosen by Kevin. So that's how I'm going to do that. And this will absolutely, without a doubt, be on my list. All right. Let's move on from that to something else that I've gotten a ton of joy out of. This, of course, is the Custom Knife Factory Satori. And if we flip it over, it's got that really gorgeous Adam Purvis clip. Such a cool knife. I'm a big fan of Peter Rosenti's work. I'm not a custom guy. I'm not going to be buying one, but I will say this, I'm pretty excited about the Custom Knife Factory Satori. The only thing is, and here's my challenge, guys, or the issue that I have with Custom Knife Factory and a number of different knives. I refuse to get in this, whipped up into a fury trying to get one of a limited number of knives. All right, I didn't get one of these when they first came out, despite the fact that I really, really liked it because of that very thing. I'm not standing in line. I'm not, staying up all night clicking refresh to try and get a knife on a page when the first day that they drop. I'm just not into that. Sorry, I'm not doing it. I skipped on all the 0392s for that very reason. And so the snafu, I suspect, is going to get a lot of attention. The FIF 23 got a lot of attention, but I'm not into chasing knives. I like knives that if I decide to buy one, I can go online, I can buy it, it can come to me, done. All right. Outside of that, there are knives where I kind of go, okay, let's put them on the radar screen, and if the opportunity arises, I may pull the trigger. And that's sort of what happened with this one. This was a knife that I knew about, I was definitely interested in, but I wasn't going to chase it. And the fact is, even when I heard that it was for sale, it didn't seem feasible. And anyway, it turned out the guy that was selling it messaged me rather than the other way around. And I had something he was interested in, and we were able to work out a trade deal. So really, really happy to have this knife. And I've carried this quite a bit. I absolutely love it. There's nothing practical about this knife. Okay, this is not the knife you buy because you want to carry a giant folder around with an integral frame lock. This is a knife you buy because you love the artistry of it, you love the design, you're a fan of the maker. All of those things are the reasons to pick up a knife like this, and I absolutely enjoy this knife to a high degree. Now, another knife that fits a similar bill but is much more widely available is this guy. This is the Ultramar 229 from Ramon Chavez. The other Ultramars, I've always liked the design, and I especially like some of the ones with the micarta inlay. I think they look really, really good, but I've handled a few in hand, and they're just too small for me. I feel like my hand is cramped. I don't have enough. They're just too small. I don't feel like I've got enough room for my hands to kind of do what I want a knife to do. So when I heard they were going to be doing a larger version, I was pretty stoked. And this is the primary thing that I picked up at Blade Show this year. And it was the primary thing that I wanted to pick up at Blade Show. And I am not disappointed. This is a great knife. You should see a review coming from me, in the next couple of weeks anyway. It's on my docket of videos to make. I think I'm ready at this point. I've spent enough time with it and got to know it enough that I can share that with you. But this has been in my pocket a lot. I enjoy this just about as much as the Satori. It costs way less. And of course, for those of you watching, this is going to be much more widely available. I think these should be at retailers by sometime in August. At least that's what Chavez was thinking. Maybe September. I think he said 2 to 3 months, so that would be August or September. So these are going to be much more widely available, and if you really like one, and if the original Ultramar was just a little small for you like it was for me, this is fantastic, and I really enjoy this. In fact, today I'm going to be running some errands and stuff and going to a few places where I'm not sure about how knives will be perceived, so I'll probably carry this, but I really want to carry this. All right, what else have I got for you? Oh yeah, one last knife. Oh, two last knives. Sorry. One last folder, and then I've got a fixed blade. of course, my Curtis F3. So recently, I was messaging back and forth with a guy who was thinking of buying an F3 for himself, and he had all these questions, and so that had me kind of going back and getting this knife out and checking things out again, and uh, so it just and I absolutely love this knife. It is one of my favorite knives of all times, and it's a knife that I really never anticipated owning myself, and so the fact that I have one is kind of a surreal thing. Um, and yeah, I absolutely enjoy this knife. I love it. So I still carry it, even though it's too heavy to be carried in summer. It doesn't matter to me. And finally, I've got this guy. Now, I have, I've complained about, I absolutely love this design. I find this to be a fantastic EDC fixed blade. The only complaint I have is the sheath, and I still don't like the sheath. But, let me say this. I have found, I've got a couple of pairs of pants, pairs of shorts that are just a little too big for me, and I still wear them from time to time. And I found, so I have to put a belt on. Okay, so I'm wearing a belt anyway. Feel like I may as well carry a fixed blade. I found a bit of a solution. So what I generally do now with this knife is I tuck it in behind my belt, clip this over my pant leg, and that extra layer tends to add enough retention that it works pretty well, at least for me. So well, I'm still not a fan of this clip. I like everything else about this knife. And so since I kind of figure, well, I'm wearing a pair of shorts, well, I'm wearing a belt anyway, it makes sense to carry a fixed blade that I enjoy. And this is absolutely that knife. Okay, so there you go, guys. I'd love to hear what's in your pocket the most. I'd love to hear if there's anything that stands out to you. Some of these knives surprised me a little bit. I think the Tuya, I got the Tuya Thorax and Kingsman at the same time. And I kind of felt like I'd be more drawn to the Kingsman, but I find myself carrying this one more, which is why it's in this video. I still like the Kingsman. I've still put some time into it, and you'll see a review coming up again, probably in a month or so's time. But this is a knife that kind of surprised me, and I'd love to hear if there's a knife recently that has surprised you and you find it more enjoyable than maybe you once thought you did. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check down in the comments, down in the description. I'll put links, Amazon links to the flashlight and the Key Smart and stuff like that. I'll also put a link to White Mountain Knives, so you can go over there and use my discount code SHARPSTUFF. And a lot of the stuff that I've shown you, they'll have over there. All right. I know the Satori is pretty hard to get your hands on, so don't go looking for that at White Mountain Knives. If they happen to have one, hey, good for you. But that doesn't seem like a thing that I would expect to happen. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe once again, and we will talk to you soon.